In the tumultuous era of the Old West, where lawlessness often reigned supreme, the town of Tombstone, Arizona, emerged as a focal point for legendary figures and historic events. Among these figures was John Clum, an influential character who not only became the first mayor of Tombstone, but also formed a lifelong friendship with the iconic Wyatt Earp. In this video, we will explore the remarkable life of John Clum and his enduring connection with Wyatt Earp. John Philip Clum was born on September 1, 1851, on a farm near Claverack, New York, USA. His parents were William Henry and Elizabeth Van Dusen Clum, of Dutch and German descent, and he had 5 brothers and 3 sisters. In September 1867, he entered Hudson River Academy, later known as Claverack College, a military academy in Claverack, New York. In addition to his military training, he also participated in religious services at the Dutch Reformed Church. He then pursued a classical education at Rutgers University, where he studied Latin, Greek, mathematics, and natural history. Clum was also a member of the Rutgers football team, although he did not play in the first intercollegiate game between Rutgers and Princeton in 1869. However, he did play in the second in the fall of 1870. During that time, due to too much sports activities, he became ill. Clum couldn't make enough money to pay for the studies in his second year. As a result, he returned to his father's farm in the summer of 1871. Clum happened to read in a newspaper story that the Federal War Department in Washington, D.C. was hosting a meteorological service. He applied for and was inducted into the United States Army Signal Corps as an observer sergeant on September 14, 1871. He was then sent to Santa Fe, New Mexico, where he began his work as a weather observer. During his stay in Ohio, he met and fell in love with Mary Molly Ware. They began their marriage on November 8, 1876. Sadly, Mary died on December 18, 1880 in Tombstone, Arizona, after giving birth to their daughter Bessie. She is buried on Boot Hill in Tombstone. John Clum married a second time on February 6, 1883, in the District of Columbia to Belle Atwood. However, his love story does not end there. He married for the third and final time on October 24, 1914, in New York City, to Florence A. Baker. In December 1872, President Ulysses S. Grant established the San Carlos Reserve, following an investigation into political abuse in the Office of Indian Affairs. The government gave management of Indian reservations to Protestant religious groups. The Dutch Reformed Church was given the responsibility of overseeing the San Carlos Reserve. They were looking for a candidate at Rutgers to manage and were connected to Clum. John Clum knows that several Indian agents have come and gone. Many agents use their position to earn money for themselves, stealing government-supplied food and clothing and withholding profits. The office is highly political, with military commanders and civilian agents vying for control, sharing profits. As a result, the Apaches, who were supposed to be well-fed and housed, often endured difficult lives. In some cases, soldiers and their commanding officers even tortured or killed Indians for fun. Despite these challenges, Clum accepted the position of Indian agent for the San Carlos Apache Indian Reservation in Arizona on February 26, 1874. On April 21, 1877, Clum successfully captured the legendary leader Geronimo. After that, Clum was faced with superiors who completely disagreed with his methods, his authority being diminished by the administration of the Indian Bureau. With the military constantly exerting pressure, Clum was extremely frustrated. In the end, Clum decided to leave his position as agent of Indians on July 1st, 1877. His successor freed Geronimo and his men, causing 15 years of bloodshed and Indian wars. It was not until Geronimo was recaptured by General Miles on September 4th, 1886, finally ending the Indian War. Throughout his life, Clum believed that his work among the Apaches was the finest and noblest work he had ever done. In 1877, Clum moved to Tombstone, Arizona, and he also founded the Tombstone Epitaph on May 1, 1880. He quickly became involved in community activism, organizing the Anti-Chinese League and a vigilance committee to end lawlessness in Tombstone. Through his work with these groups, he was elected the first mayor of Tombstone under the new city charter of 1881. As mayor, he forged a close relationship with Wyatt Earp and became one of his most loyal supporters. However, tragedy struck when Mary, Clum's wife, gave birth to their daughter Elizabeth, also known as Bessie, in December 1880. Just a few days later, Mary died. Elizabeth also fell ill and died the following summer. After the legendary gunfight on October 26, 1881, in a vacant lot next to the home and studio of photographer Camillus S. Fly, Ike Clanton has filed charges against Wyatt Earp, Doc Holliday, Virgil Earp, Morgan Earp for murder. After a month-long preliminary hearing, Peace Judge Wells Spicer ruled the men had acted within the bounds of the law. Clum later reported, "There had been a lot of talk about the justification of the fight, but the Earps are officers of the law, and I don't see why an officer would have to wait until he's been shot 2 or 3 times before taking his own hand." Wyatt Earp then told me he could kill Ike Clanton. Ike, Wyatt said, stepped back and signaled he wasn't in there. He called Ike, "Get in here, Ike, or get out," and Ike was out. Clum's friendships with the Earps and loyalty to the business leadership made him a target for the outlaw Cochise County Cowboys. On December 14th, Clum rode in a carriage to Benson to catch the train to Washington, D.C., where he planned to spend Christmas with his parents and son. He and his newspaper have consistently supported the lawman. The carriage was shot by unidentified assailants. Clum wasn't carrying any mail, cash, or silver, so robbery was an unlikely motive for the attack. Driver Jimmy Harrington was able to outrun the attackers, but he quickly had to stop to remove a leading horse that has been shot and bled to death. Clum was sure the stage was a cover for a plot to kill him, so he didn't go back there, but walked until he found a horse he could borrow. He ended up going to Benson the next day, and then safely back to Tombstone. Clum and Wells Fargo agent Marshall Williams, Justice of the Peace Wells Spicer, mine owner E.B. Gage, attorney Tom Fitch, Oriental Saloon owner Lou Rickabaugh, and Earps were also threatened. Clum described the murder plot afterwards. "Yes, I escaped Tombstone," said Clum. "There were 9 of us who couldn't have gotten out of Tombstone alive. We received warnings written in blood. At first we didn't pay much attention to them, but after a few months, things turned out. That became unbearable. They were kicking us out one by one. We were never able to definitively catch those who were doing it. I decided to settle elsewhere. They opened fire on me from there, both sides of the road. 3 miles further along the road, a bullet ripped my coat and leash and knocked my horse down. In January, Virgil Earp was wounded in an assassination attempt, and in March, Morgan was murdered. On May 1, 1882, 2 years after the start of the gravestone epitaph, he sold it and left the gravestone. The newspaper is still published to this day as a nationally distributed chronicle of the Old West. In 1898, Clum was appointed postal inspector for the territory of Alaska. He was tasked with establishing a territorial postal service, and he spent 5 months traveling 13,000 kilometers across Alaska, setting up new post offices and retrofitting existing ones. While in Nome, Alaska in the summer of 1900, Clum reunited with old friends Wyatt Earp and George W. Parsons. Wyatt was running the Dexter Saloon at the time. Clum was then trusted to be appointed postmaster for Fairbanks, Alaska, and he held that position until 1909. During his tenure as postmaster, Cairo, Alaska was named after his daughter. After leaving Alaska, Clum spent several years touring around the country for the South Pacific Railroad, giving hundreds of lectures to promote tourism. In 1928, he moved to Los Angeles, where he lived until his death in 1932 at the age of 80. John Clum is a notable figure in the history of Tombstone and the American West. He was a man of integrity, courage, and loyalty to his friends. Under his leadership as Tombstone's first mayor, lawlessness ceased in the town. John Clum's legacy lives on as an inspiration to all who seek to make a positive impact in their communities, and his stories will continue to fascinate and engage people for generations to come.
Please like and share if you find the video content interesting and useful. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and comment below so as not to miss the upcoming interesting videos. Thanks for watching.